kind of a suburban town, but what I thought was interesting about this, and you guys that live in Plant City, you'll know best, but of your town history, I saw here that it was originally a cotton center. And then they were like, you know what? Never mind. Let's do strawberries. That's a little less dark. And now over 3/4 of the nation's midwinter strawberries come from this place in Florida. So we are in Strawberry Town, and DeeDee's just a girl. She didn't come from a lot of wealth. She didn't come from a lot of money, but she's, just kind of doing the middle class American dream. She's a cheerleader. She's kind of cute. She wasn't overly popular. She was really just a girl. Like, think about somebody you went to school with that you're like, yeah, she was there and she was fine. That was DeeDee Moore. Okay, so let's say you're having some weird symptoms. You need a specialist, like an ear, nose, and throat or something. And your insurance is Anthem. Well, guess what? You can find a doctor in your area that's less than 10 miles away that has open appointments within the week by using ZocDoc. I guarantee it. Whether you're looking for preventative care or to treat a symptom, or honestly, lately I'm a big fan of go to the doctor and get your checkups so your anxiety gets a little bit lower when something does happen. Man, I can't tell you, now that I'm older, how much better I feel after I just go get that weird symptom checked out, or I just go get my annual physical for the year and just keep up with everything. And it was hard to do before because getting a hold of a doctor and getting something on the schedule, it's tough. It's annoying, okay? I know I say this every time I talk about ZocDoc, but it's true. Nobody likes going to their insurance website, scrolling through, looking through the doctors that have no reviews, by the way. You got to go and Google them and then do all this stuff. And then eventually you find somebody, you try to call, you got, somebody answers the phone, hates their job. Girl, I get it. And then you're trying to schedule and figure. It's a nightmare, right? Even just describing it makes me anxious. And you know what? My brain would just be like, nope, not doing that. And then I wasn't taking the best care of myself. So guys, I love ZocDoc. I am so happy that they're a sponsor on this show because it's like one of those things that I use myself, I actually trust, and I think is useful for all of us. And the best part is it's free. But I always ask you, let them know where you came from. If you want to try it out today, you can download the app or just use it in the browser, but go to ZocDoc.com/sinister. That's ZocDoc.com/sinister. Check it out. So after high school, she decided that she wanted to get into nursing. And for DeeDee, this wasn't just like, oh, nursing is a good job, I'll do that. She seemed to really have a passion for wanting to help people. Now, whether she really had the capacity to help is one thing, but she wanted to. She wanted to be the reason that you were saved or you were fixed. And she was like, I need this. I want this. One thing that I try to pay attention to when I'm going through these cases is I try to watch as many interviews or interrogations or anything that I can of these subjects. And DeeDee is very interesting. She has this air of desperation on her. It's the best way I can describe it. When she wants something, it's like, yeah, like it's actually quite strange. Now, she veers a little bit off of, bedside nursing, and she goes more into nursing administration. And she's actually managing bills, finances, and stuff like that for the hospital, but kind of trying to help people with these outrageous hospital bills. She cared about people, but her skill set was a little bit more in management. So she's working this job, and then in 1992, she met her husband, James Moore, and they married in 1995. This is why I said DeeDee Moore, so normal. So normal. The reason why we sometimes can get a lot of information on somebody's backstory or like a really traumatic childhood is when we go to court, sometimes the killer will say what happened to them, or sometimes there's testimony from other family members that witnessed bad things happening decades ago, but they didn't know who to tell or they didn't know who was going to do anything, but now it comes up in court, right? Well, DeeDee has been to court, and spoiler, DeeDee has been convicted. And there is just not a strong history of documented trauma with her. So there's nothing I can really infer. She really seemed to have a pretty normal life from, the early 70s till she got married in 1992 to James. Lived in a normal neighborhood, was a cheerleader, went to school, graduated, became a nurse or went to school for nursing admin, met a guy, married him 3 years later. But this is like chef's kiss, normal. Everything seems to be going right with DeeDee, but she wants more. And I think that's perfectly normal. Now, some things I can infer from her background is, she didn't come from too much money and she really believed in her capabilities to help people. And she felt like business was the best direction for her. She really wants to run a business. So she's still young, she's in her 20s, and she works a couple of jobs to start to learn different things. At one point, she works sales for Nextel. And then she works in Mary Kay doing like sales and marketing and whatnot. She was juggling a few different jobs and learning different skill sets. And she said at one point she made like $30,000 selling Mary Kay. Back in the mid 90s, that's a pretty significant amount of money, especially if you have other income. So she was basically boasting, I'm good at what I do. She was doing so well that in 2000, she ended up getting a $45,000 loan for a black Lincoln Navigator. This was important because she wasn't somebody that grew up with a lot of money, but she knew that when she's selling products, she needs to look good. She needs to have a little prestige. She needs to look like she made it. So the car is pretty fancy, but she feels like it's also an investment in her business. Now, like I said, her sales in Mary Kay are nice, and she was making a little bit of money in some other gigs, but a $45,000 car loan in the 2000s is pretty crazy. $45,000 in 2000 is the equivalent of $84,000 right now. So even though I get it, she wanted to upgrade her car to look like I'm doing well, I can take care of myself and I can take care of your life. It was part of the marketing point. This is like her buying a slightly used Porsche 911. I don't know. You guys in the comments, name an $84,000 car. It's insane, actually. Now, of course, DeeDee starts falling behind on these payments. She doesn't have it. This is a lot of money. I mean, guys, what is this? $1,500 a month for a car, probably? She doesn't have it, but she wants to keep the car. So she starts signing some bad checks. Just a couple here and there, no big deal. And a little bit of insurance fraud. Just a little bit. She just needed a couple $1,000s to, get by. DeeDee didn't have a history of fudging things financially, but she got into a situation where she had to figure it out. And for her, she was like, it's just so easy to write these numbers on the check and hand it over and walk out of the building. And that's kind of where it started, because she started getting away with it. And she was getting the things that she wanted. But Mary Kay is still not going that well. It's not going Lincoln Navigator well. And the car is about to get repossessed, but DeeDee can't have that. She's kind of concocted this life around her sales and her car and her lifestyle and her husband. And if the car goes missing, it shatters the illusion of what she's built. Unless the car gets taken from her in a way that makes her a victim. And then one day, that exact thing happens. DeeDee said that she was leaving the post office in Sydney, Florida, when suddenly 3 Mexican men with green tattoos came up to her and they threatened her in her car. They said, we're going to burn you alive in your car. Actually, never mind. We're not going to do that because we like this car. So we're going to let you live and then we're going to take the car. And then she threw herself in a ditch and called 911 and told them that story. That was literally DeeDee's fucking story. 3 Hispanic men with green tattoos were like, hey, we're going to burn your life in your car. Never mind. Just kidding. Give us the car, bitch. Bye. Actually, one of the worst lies I have ever heard. And also, it's crazy to me that she didn't think that the police would, look at the records for the car. You're 8 months delinquent on this payment, but then suddenly somebody steals the car. Come on. So DeeDee goes really far with this. She's in the ditch on the phone with 911 while also flagging somebody down. She claims that she's also been sexually assaulted. So she goes to file a police report. She's rape tested and they question her and let her go. But this is kind of a buzzy story. I'm not sure if it's because people didn't believe DeeDee more or if it's just because it's like, wow, something crazy happened in the neighborhood.